English short stories for beginners. 100 English short stories to improve vocabulary and learn English in a fun way. Learning English through short stories. Episode 6. Number 34. A visit to the doctor. Elsa seriously thought she was pregnant. Her stomach already looked like she had swallowed a few basketballs when she decided it was time to call her doctor to hear the results from the last exams. But, just like last time, the doctor confirmed that she wasn't pregnant at all. Still, over the next few weeks, Elsa gained more pounds. In addition, the shape of her stomach had become strange. It looked like a huge potato. The scale showed that over 300 pounds, and Elsa just couldn't find an explanation. Eventually, Elsa checked herself into a hospital for cosmetic surgery, basically to suck out the fat from her body. When Elsa left the hospital, she weighed only 100 pounds. She asked the surgeon about her condition. The doctor pointed his finger at the lawn in front of the hospital. "Do you see that donkey on the lawn? We pulled that out of your body. Now you're healed." Number 35. The Spanish Restaurant. Frank has recently opened a restaurant in the Bay Area, and his specialty is Spanish cuisine. Actually, the restaurant is part of his house that has also a large garden and is very spacious. One night, just when he wanted to close, a young couple came in. His wife, who works in the kitchen, wondered why her husband is still letting guests in. "Frank, the kitchen is already closed. Besides, we don't have enough in the refrigerator to cook 2 more meals." Frank shakes his head. "We do. I still have a rabbit in there, but most people don't like rabbit." His wife complains. "I know a very old recipe from an old cookbook. Just let me try." "How long does it take until you have cooked this recipe?" "It will take about an hour. I still have to pull off the fur since I shot the rabbit in the garden myself earlier." Number 36. The Mysterious Lamp. What Bruno Schmidt wanted to buy originally in this German flea market was a drum. He figured that to find a decent drum he had to go to a large flea market is in a major city and usually takes place on weekends. So, it was on Sunday that he saw a large red drum on the table that also offered a lot of broken stuff and old, seemingly useless items. For some reason, the vendor didn't want to sell him the drum. "Can you not read?" the old vendor asked him. He pointed his finger at the handmade sign that said, "Take everything for 100 euro." It seemed the man didn't want to sell only the drum. Then Bruno saw an old vintage lamp that looked really interesting. A typical lamp with a shade that one would put into the bedroom. He could use a lamp like that. Bruno asked the man if he could buy the drum and the lamp together. The old man nodded. Bruno took closer look at the lamp. There were old decoration lines on the lamp shade, which also had old pergament and bright color. Then he saw what looked like a long number in the corner of the shade. Was that a tattoo? "What is the lamp shade made of?" Bruno asked the man. "I don't think it's animal skin," answered the man. "I bought it myself at the flea market in Bunchwalet." Number 37. Not always fish and chips. Molly runs a small restaurant in a small town in southern England. She sells fish and chips, but her most popular dish is hamburgers. She has been in the restaurant business for a long time, and since she is always eating her food in the restaurant, she doesn't feel very healthy. She thinks that all the grease and fried meals have taken their toll and her health. She tells this to some of her regular customers, and most agree she should offer healthier food. Other customers, however, have pointed out that she should keep her restaurant cleaner since there are a lot of cockroaches. Sometimes they can be seen on the table. Eventually, Molly buys several cookbooks about healthy food, especially exotic Asian food, as fascinates her. One day, Molly has a brilliant idea. After a few days of trial and error, Molly sells Asian diet hamburgers. The customers like them, and some even think of them as fantastic. One regular customer asks Molly, "What is the secret of this new and tasty hamburger?" She tells him the meat is made of insects, which is very common in Asia, and that she catches the insects all in her own restaurant. Number 38. An unusual marriage. Mr. Mayer is a public accountant but works in a large insurance company. He has an excellent reputation for being reliable and having a high work ethic. In a short time, he has risen to upper management. However, over the last few weeks, Mr. Mayer has often been sick. It also seems he is not very focused, with his colleagues saying that he is distracted by something. Mr. Mayer actually has a secret. For some time he has been engaged to his new girlfriend. But the real secret is that he met her on the street. The first time he met her, he paid for her time. One day he tells his colleagues that he plans to marry his fiancée. One of his colleagues, he always been suspicious and envious of him. After some research on the internet, he finds out that Mr. Mayer's fiancée has a questionable past. He reports his findings to the directors. They gave Mr. Mayer a choice. He can keep his job, but he must not marry that woman, or he must leave the company. Mr. Mayer is desperate. Should he marry the woman or keep his job? Eventually, Mr. Mayer tells his bosses, "I will marry, but I am not going to marry the woman. I will instead marry my office if you give me a lifetime contract." Number 39. New shoes. Today, Gilbert is going to buy new shoes. In a shoe store, he asks the salesperson if they also have working shoes. The man replies that they actually have working shoes on sale for a special price. Gilbert sees a particularly nice pair of shoes on the shelf. He asks if these shoes in his size. The salesperson replies, "Sorry, they come as they are, with non-guarantees for shoes on sale." Gilbert checks the price and buys the shoes a hug. The next day, Gilbert is wearing his new shoes. However, in the evening, he comes back with one foot limping as his heel is wounded. His wife shakes her head. "Why did you have to buy shoes that are much too small for you?" Gilbert replies, "Only one of them is too small. That's why they were such a bargain." Watch the continuation of the stories in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this far into the video. Remember to subscribe to the Mr. English channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos.